Okay, thank you so much for listening. Kliff Davis back with you live from the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. The exhibit, A Tale of Two Grits, a peek behind the eye patch. And I'm with Anita Cava Swift, John Wayne's granddaughter. And Cowboy Mike, he's the curator out here. And we just are giving you a treasure chest of great John Wayne trivia and information. And it all stems and emulates right here from the great state of Oklahoma and this beautiful museum that we have that John Wayne helped break ground on back in 1961. So we're proud to be a part. We're going to back a little bit here to the '69 movie, True Grit, and we're talking a little bit about some of the characters and some of the people that were in the film. And what I was going to say, there's a Glenn Campbell open to the True Grit theme song, right? And he tells this story about John Wayne coming in prior to all of this and saying, "Mr. Campbell, I need your autograph for my daughter, Marisa." And Glenn says, "Oh, I'm flabbergasted. I mean, what do I call it? Mr. Wayne, John Wayne, Duke, what do I call you?" And John Wayne says, "Call me Duke." And he says, "Okay, well, great." So he signed, the autograph for him, and he said it wasn't, but I don't know, a couple months later that he got a phone call from his agent, and John Wayne says, "I want Glenn Campbell with me in the movie." And Glenn Campbell says, this is live on stage when he was performing. Glenn Campbell says, "I'd never acted in a movie before." And John Wayne says, "Don't worry, I'll drag you through it." And then he comes back he goes, "I've never acted in a movie before, and so far, I think my record's pretty clean." And the audiences broke up. But I love that. Don't worry about it. I'll drag you through it. So anyway, we're back over here on the part of the exhibit. It's a visual exhibit part of the museum here, and they're characters. So Mike, you can kind of take it from here and explain.
Well, what we wanted to do in comparing the films was not only the various aspects that hewed closer to the novel in both films, but also character development. How did the studios at that time, particularly Hal Wallace in the '69 production, who he wanted to be in the film, as opposed to the Coen brothers, and who eventually tried out for the roles in the 2010 film. And so we delved into it as much as we could, the development of those characters by the actors who are household names today. Robert Duvall, for example.
Sure.
You mentioned Glenn Campbell.
Right.
And then in the 2010 film, Barry Pepper, and the better known in many ways, Matt Damon. He's a frontline actor today and playing lots of different things. And so, we tried to compare how each of them handled their roles, and we used quotations from the book, and ultimately Maddie's voice, how she saw them. And she talks, for example, in the book about the LaBeef character being a real dandy, being very concerned about how he looked and cultivating his cowlick. And Matt Damon, in an interview I found, I think from the LA Times, said that he played the LaBeef character as a perfect nincompoop, which is pretty funny.
Right.
Great quotation. And then Glenn Campbell, as you mentioned before, was not comfortable being an actor, and I actually found a quotation from him that said, I was never an actor, and every time I watch True Grit, it confirms it.
Yeah, right. That was the big beginning of the.
But he's a good singer.
Great singer.
And he got a hit song out of it, and so
yeah.
on. And then Barry Pepper, of course, a great Canadian actor who's been in a lot of wonderful films, and really took Ned Pepper to a different angle than Robert Duvall did. And of course, Robert Duvall, he's Augustus McRae these days, and you can't escape that.
It's hard to break that one.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, he's as much in many ways, Robert Duvall as Augustus McRae is as towering in many respects as John Wayne in the public's understanding of the whole cowboy mythology. There's no greater one except for John Wayne. And so we're honored to be able to talk about both in this exhibition. And unfortunately, we thought we had found Robert Duvall's costume, but we were unable to secure it. But we did get Barry Pepper's coat, so that's in the exhibition. And Matt Damon's full costume is here as well.
That's just fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
That's neat. I think one of the greatest lines, if not the greatest line from the movie, was when John Wayne turns the horse around, and he's outnumbered. And fill your hands with lead, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
It just gives you chills still thinking about it.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize, he talks about the fact that he did that sort of charge earlier in his life, Rooster Carver did. And that's something we talk about in the exhibit, is the historical context of that original ride when Rooster Cogburn was fighting as a Confederate partisan in the Civil War. And I'm from Kansas City, and that Battle of Lone Jack where he loses his eye is a critical part of the guerrilla warfare that took place in the Missouri-Kansas borderlands. Some of the most vicious fighting in the Civil War.
Yeah.
Awful, awful things going on, and Rooster Cogburn's part of that. And that's, to me, that makes the story even more layered.
News Radio 1000 KTOK, Cliff Davis with you, back in a flash with Anita Cava Swift and Cowboy Mike out here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. A Tale of Two Grits, a peek behind the eye patch, running till May
10th.
May 10th. Okay, we're going to go see Oscar.
Indeed.
After this break. You guys hook in and hang on. It doesn't get any better. We're on News Radio 1000 KTOK. This is Cliff Davis. I'll be right back. I'm with Cowboy Mike and Anita Cava Swift, John Wayne's eldest granddaughter, and the exhibit is A Tale of Two Grits, peek behind the eye patch. Mike put all this together out here. It's basically a compare and contrast between the 1969 John Wayne movie and the 2010 Jeff Bridges movie and the book. And we've covered a lot if you've heard the show. The show turns into a podcast afterwards, so you got time to catch what maybe you've missed so far. But we appreciate you listening and joining us. And the Cliff Davis Show really appreciates being a part of such an epic event at such an epic location. John Wayne basically broke ground out here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in 1961. Apparently made one hell of an impact when he was in town, and Anita can touch on that here in a minute. But we're by the Oscar. I don't know if you've ever seen one up close, but it's quite a sensation. It's quite an accomplishment. This is not just an Oscar, but it's a very special Oscar and a neat piece of history considering it's John Wayne's. And if I could describe it to you in all its glory, it's encased, it's gold as they all are, and it almost speaks to you through the glass. You can almost feel the energy. What this man did with the Western movie, the United States of America and the world becoming such a great hero. And I'm proud and privileged to be standing here with the family and with Cowboy Mike, who's going to tell us a little bit more about how he got this here. And Anita, I've got some questions for you, but what it means to the museum and what it means to you. It's pretty neat.
Well, Anita Cava Swift stepped right up immediately when I voiced the idea of doing a comparison exhibition a year ago, a little over a year ago, and she said we will cooperate as much as possible. Well, cooperation is one thing, and then asking for a family treasure like the Academy Award is a whole nother thing. And so we felt confident to a certain extent that the John Wayne family would work with us on certain paraphernalia that they had and had preserved from the True Grit film. But asking for the Academy Award, the only one John Wayne ever received. He was nominated 3 times, of course. San Ivo Jima for Best Actor, did not win. And also for The Alamo for Best Picture, did not win. And then received it for his role as Rooster Cogburn in True Grit. And so that was really, I don't know that was on anybody's radar. And one of the things I've learned in the museum business is nobody knows what you want unless you ask them. And so I've been willing to take risks throughout my career, and I thought, what the hell, we'll float that out there. We'll ask Anita, we'll ask Ethan, we'll ask the rest of the family if they were willing to share this. Ultimately, it's a national treasure, and I appreciate what you said about Mr. Wayne. Ultimately, he's an ambassador for America, because there's no greater figure that represents America like the American cowboy, and no greater figure that represented the American cowboy than John Wayne. And true, he was an actor, but nevertheless, the fact that we have a symbol of what that meant to him to play a cowboy on the silver screen in our building here in Oklahoma City right now in this museum, John Wayne's Oscar. And I got to hold it in my hands yesterday.
I was going to ask you.
And that was a thrilling thing. And I, of course, wore white cotton gloves, as all museum professionals are obliged to do. But at the same time, I was surprised at its weight. It has great heft. I would wager it weighs anywhere between 8 and 10 pounds.
Wow.
I didn't expect that. And the fact that this was John Wayne. John Wayne. I mean, like I said, Museum people are supposed to be objective. We don't have any emotions. We don't care about this stuff. That's a bunch of nonsense for me. I mean, I was floored, and I'm floored right now that this symbolizes what he means to America and what he means to the world.
I heard he said he'd have put an eye patch on a long time ago if he thought that he was going to get an award. But do you remember seeing this around, Anita, when you were
Oh my
a
God,
child?
totally, absolutely.
What did
yeah.
it mean to you? What did you think?
Oh, well, I've told you before, but when my best friend was Alfred Hitchcock's granddaughter.
Yeah.
And when he told me at Sunday dinner, make sure you tell your grandfather congratulations on his Oscar, I was blown away because here I am. I just think my grandfather's a cowboy. And Alfred Hitchcock is, this amazing director. And here he is telling me, make sure you tell your grandfather.
Tell him congrats. Yeah. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy
No,
stuff.
it was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, it meant so much to him.
Well, and what a lot of people might not know about the Academy Award and the Oscar is that it is an industry vote of confidence and congratulations and that you did good. And it's the biggest honor and biggest award that you can get being in the movie industry. So to be standing here in front of it,
because you're voted by your peers.
you're voted by your peers, right? To be standing here in front of it,
all the actors voted for him.
and it's John Wayne's. It's just absolutely incredible. This exhibit out at the National Western Heritage Museum out here, you don't want to miss this. You need to come out. And you need to check out the displays and everything that Cowboy Mike has put together and that John Wayne has donated their time for and their products and all of the things that come from the movie industry and all of their collections, because it's true, it's real, and it's awe-inspiring. So that's about our time here. We've got to go in and catch the show, and the actual movie and the sit-down dinner. So we can't thank you enough for listening on News Radio 1000 KTOK here in Oklahoma, nationwide and all over the world to the Kliff Davis Show. It sure does mean a lot, and I want to personally thank you, Cowboy Mike and Anita, for involving us and involving me, along with Jeff Burnham, in this great opportunity to be a part of such great national and global history and for the great state of Oklahoma. Thank you all very much.
Cheers.
Okay, News Radio 1000 KTOK. This is Kliff Davis. We'll be right back.